So, Congressman Gaetz, I obviously want to get to why you're here, what America First is all about, but I think we need to get to the elephant that's in the room and talk about the sexual misconduct allegations that you're facing. You're under investigation. I have to just ask you point blank, did you ever pay to have sex with a minor or a woman?
I have never paid to have sex with anyone, and I have not had sex with a 17-year-old since I was 17. So these allegations are false. The truth will prevail. I'm very confident in that, but it certainly shows you what anonymous allegations can do when just repeated over and over by an America Last media. I thought it was something when a CNN director was literally caught on tape saying the reason they were repeating this propaganda about me was because I was effective at standing in the way of this socialist agenda.
So let me ask you then about Joel Greenberg, a friend of yours. He obviously is facing 33 federal charges. There is concern that maybe that some people have been accusing you of not necessarily paying for sex, but getting escorts in exchange for political favors.
That is total nonsense. I cannot deny that in stronger possible terms. I think in everyone's life, there's probably someone that they've made friends with where they regret that friendship. And certainly in my case, that has been true. But that does not append to any criminal conduct on my part.
Are you saying that you regret that friendship and you guys are no longer friends?
I have not communicated with Mr. Greenberg in quite some time. Our friendship ended quite some time ago.
So what do you think is going to come about with these investigations?
I don't know. I just know that I haven't done anything that broke the law, and I'm confident that the truth will prevail.
All right. Let's talk about America First. So you're kicking it off tonight. What is the purpose of this? Because you represent the 1st Congressional District. This is not your district. So why are you here?
This is a national tour to reinvigorate the positive populist spirit embodied by President Trump. We need to make America rally again. We need people to be able to come and show their love of country, especially with what the Democrats are doing in Washington, D.C. We are on the march to socialism, where they are subsidizing policies that encourage lockdowns and diminished economic output from our people and more reliance on the government. And so I'm here with Congresswoman Marjorie Taylor Greene in Florida, my home state, but we're going to be going all over the country.
But let me ask you this, because you yourself are facing, controversy right now. She is certainly not immune to that. She was kicked off a couple committees. Why Marjorie Taylor Greene? And again, this isn't even her state, Georgia. Are you possibly making a run for governor? You thinking that may happen?
I'm running from more things than I'm running for these days. But what I can tell you about Congresswoman Greene is that she is a fighter, and I admire that. And the people who are showing up today in droves admire that as well about her. I think that I am far more afraid of socialism than I am of scandal. And you know what? They come for the fighters. They came for Trump. They went for Donald Trump Jr., Steve Bannon, Marjorie Taylor Greene, Jim Jordan, myself. There is a commonality to those who are targeted by big government and big media. It's that we actually stand in battle.
But nonetheless, you've had some critics, same with Marjorie Taylor Greene, from your own party, who are actually describing this as the distraction tour. What's your response to that?
We're no longer in a time of our politics where it is the red team versus the blue team. It is this establishment of both parties against the rest of us. And there are more of us than there are of them. And that scares them, and it should. The fact that Marjorie Taylor Greene and I are able to come to Florida, a swing state, and turn out more people than any 2024 presidential aspirant would be able to turn out, not named Trump, it tells you where the energy is in our movement. It's with America First. It's with us. It's not with this Liz Cheney, Mitch McConnell, Mitt Romney vision of the party. We are the future, not them.
So what would you say to some Republicans who are critical of this tour, who think that this could actually hurt Republicans when it comes to the midterm elections?
They said the same thing about Donald Trump. They said that these big rallies where people came and stood by the American flag and showed their patriotism were somehow nativist, that we were deplorables for showing up at these rallies, and ultimately it led to a victory. So it's my expectation that giving people a reason to believe, being optimistic, will only help to grow our party. And we are in a time of political realignment. I think that what Republicans and Democrats stand for is up for debate in some circumstances. For example, the people who are critics of Marjorie Taylor Greene and I have a very neoconservative view of the world. They think we need to invade a lot of places, start a lot of new wars, and that's a position we don't hold.
But you mentioned conservative, right? So we're here in the Villages, obviously a conservative stronghold here. There's a large number of people here that voted for Trump. This seems like a safe place for you to be. Why kick off your tour here?
I far prefer the swamps of Florida to the swamps of Washington, D.C. When the establishment have political events, they invite people to Washington. But we're actually going out in the country, and we're going to go a lot of places. Florida's still a swing state.
Where are you going next?
Well, we still have to decide that. We haven't announced it yet.
Oh, come on. Give us a little hint.
What I can tell you is that there's probably a lot of work still to do in Georgia. Georgia's a state that was reliably red, that has gone blue in some very marked ways. I think election integrity is very much on the ballot in Georgia in a lot of ways. So we might stay in an SEC state for the next stop.
Okay, so that's the only hint that we get.
That's right.
What's the number one message that you want to convey today during this speech?
That America is a wonderful, splendid place. The other party in our politics wants to convince us that America is intractably racist, that people that stand for the flag are somehow nativist or a problem that needs to be corrected. They want to teach critical race theory in our schools and convince us to hate one another. And so the main message we want to spread is a positive one about our fellow Americans, about our neighbors. And we want to invite people to a positive movement that loves our country and that will fight for her.
Congressman Gaetz, thank you so much for your time. Appreciate it.